Have you ever looked in a mirror and felt like something was just a little off? Your outfit is cute, your makeup looks great, your hair is styled, but something still doesn't click. Here's the thing. After 60, a lot of the changes we notice aren't just about wrinkles or sagging skin. Sometimes it's your hair color quietly working against you. What looked amazing when you were 30 might not be doing you any favors now. And the shift can be subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. The color that used to light you up could now be casting shadows or making your skin look tired. And the good news? A small change can bring your glow right back. Let's talk about hair color, not just as a beauty choice, but as a reflection of who you are today. A lot of us get attached to the shade we've worn for years. Maybe it's the color you picked in your 30s, and it became part of your identity. But here's the thing. As you age, your skin changes, your undertones shift, and what used to flatter you might now be doing the opposite. It happens to all of us. You might notice your go-to color suddenly looks a bit too harsh, or makes your skin look dull or tired. That doesn't mean you have to start over completely. Sometimes just softening a tone or warming it up can make a big difference. The right shade can lift your face, brighten your eyes, and even make you look more rested. It's not about hiding your age. It's about choosing what enhances the version of you standing in the mirror today. And that kind of shift, that's empowering. Because you're not chasing youth, you're stepping into your style with clarity and grace. Here's something a lot of women over 60 don't realize. They're holding on to a hair color that no longer works for them. Not because they love the color, but because it's familiar. It's what they've always done. But the color you chose 20 or 30 years ago might not fit your skin tone now. Our skin loses pigment and becomes cooler and lighter as we age. So a bold jet black or bright red that once looked amazing can now make you look tired or washed out. You might not even notice it until someone says, "You look tired," even when you're not. Sound familiar? That's not your face betraying you. It could be your color. And the great news is you don't have to go dramatic. You just need a shift. A slight adjustment in tone can soften your features, bring out your eyes, and make you feel like yourself again, but fresher. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about making peace with change and using it to your advantage. Let's start with jet black. For a lot of women, it's a comfort color. Maybe you've had jet black hair for decades. It was your go-to look in your 20s, 30s, maybe even your 40s. It felt powerful, dramatic, sleek. And hey, back then, it probably looked amazing on you. But here's the truth. Past 60, jet black can be brutal. It doesn't play as nicely with the changes that come with aging skin. Your skin now has less natural color. It's softer, lighter, maybe even a bit translucent in some areas. So when you pair that delicate skin with a pitch black shade, the contrast can be really sharp. It draws attention to things you might not want to highlight, like under eye circles, fine lines, or thinning hair. You might not even notice it right away. You're used to the look. But step back and look. Does the color feel too harsh now? One woman I worked with, let's call her Diane, had been coloring her hair jet black for over 30 years. It was her signature. She didn't want to give it up because it felt like giving up a part of herself. But she kept hearing people say, "Are you feeling tired?" or "rough night?" even on days when she felt fine. Eventually, we tried shifting her color just slightly to a soft black with warm undertones. And you know what happened? Her whole face looked brighter. Her eyes looked clearer. She didn't change her makeup or clothes, just the color. That's the kind of difference we're talking about. There's also the matter of maintenance. Jet black does not forgive gray roots. Even a few strands of silver can stand out like a spotlight. That means more salon visits, more chemical exposure, and more hassle, especially when your hair may already be a little drier or more fragile than it used to be. And if your hair is thinning, black hair makes that more noticeable, too. It creates a background that makes your scalp more visible, which isn't what most of us want. So what's the alternative? Try easing into a softer shade. Deep espresso, warm black, or even dark chocolate brown can give you the richness and depth without the harsh edge. These colors blend better with mature skin tones. They still give you that bold feeling, but in a way that enhances rather than overwhelms. You're not giving up jet black forever. You're just evolving. You're choosing something that fits better now. And honestly, once you see the difference, you'll wonder why you waited so long. Because hair color shouldn't weigh you down. It should lift you. And the right shade? It does exactly that. Think of it like updating your wardrobe. The leather jacket from your 30s might still be in the closet, but maybe it's time for a version that fits better, feels softer, and makes you look more current. The same principle applies here. Hair color should work with your present, not cling to your past. Let's talk about platinum blonde. On paper, it sounds like the perfect solution, right? It's light, trendy, and seems to blend with gray hair beautifully. So a lot of women over 60 give it a shot, thinking it will soften the transition and add a little glam. But here's the truth. Platinum blonde is not always the hero it pretends to be. As we age, our skin naturally becomes lighter, cooler, and sometimes a bit more translucent. That icy platinum shade that looked so chic on a magazine cover, it can actually make real skin look washed out or tired. Instead of bringing out a glow, it can drain your complexion and emphasize shadows under the eyes or around the mouth. I had a client once, Susan, who went full platinum after retiring. She thought it would feel fresh and fun. But after a few months, she noticed she looked tired all the time, even when she wasn't. She kept adjusting her makeup, trying brighter lipstick, adding blush. Nothing worked. Then we tried switching to a warm champagne blonde, just a few shades down from platinum. Instantly, her whole face looked more awake. Her eyes had more sparkle. It wasn't a dramatic change, but it made all the difference. And we have to talk about the upkeep. Platinum blonde is one of the highest maintenance hair colors out there. You need regular bleaching, toning, and constant root touch-ups, sometimes every 3 or 4 weeks. That means more chemicals on hair that's probably already finer or drier than it used to be. Not to mention the time, money, and effort. There's also the texture issue. Bleaching weakens the hair shaft. So while you might start with hair that feels soft and shiny, platinum often leads to breakage, dryness, and dullness. And that's the opposite of what we want at this stage in life. Now, if you love being blonde, great. But instead of icy platinum, think warm honey, soft beige, or even a creamy champagne. These shades still feel light and bright, but they reflect more warmth. They're softer against mature skin, more forgiving with root regrowth, and just overall easier to wear. The goal isn't to erase your age, it's to enhance your natural glow. And sometimes that just means finding a blonde that brightens you up instead of washing you out. Think of it like natural light in your home. Harsh fluorescent light can feel cold and unwelcoming, but a soft, golden lamp? That feels warm, cozy, and flattering. That's the kind of blonde you want, something that flatters and supports, not competes. Let's talk about red hair. Not the soft, natural auburns, but the bold stuff. Bright cherry, fire engine red, or vibrant copper. These colors are full of personality, right? They say fun, fierce, and fearless. And if you're over 60, that spirit can be incredibly empowering. But here's the truth. Vivid reds don't always play well with mature skin. As we age, our skin tone changes. It becomes thinner, less even, and sometimes a bit more flushed in certain areas. And those bold red tones, they tend to exaggerate those shifts. They highlight redness in the cheeks, bring attention to broken capillaries, and make uneven patches stand out more. Instead of giving you a youthful glow, bright reds can leave you looking overly flushed or tired. Take Mary, for example. She's in her mid-60s, and decided to go red to shake things up. At first, she loved it. It was different, exciting. But over time, she started to notice she had to wear more makeup just to balance her look. Her foundation got heavier, her blush more controlled. And every 3 weeks, she was back at the salon for a refresh because that red faded fast. When it fades, it doesn't do it gracefully. It turns brassy, patchy, and uneven. It's a tough color to keep looking fresh. Red also has one of the shortest lifespans of all hair colors. It fades quicker than brown, blonde, or black. That means constant maintenance, touch-ups, and exposure to more chemicals, all of which can be hard on aging hair. So what's the better approach? You don't have to say goodbye to red. Just find a softer, richer version that plays better with your features. Warm shades like auburn, cinnamon, or mahogany give you that fire without the harshness. They're easier on the skin, age beautifully, and blend better as they grow out. These tones add warmth to your face, draw attention to your eyes, and enhance your skin instead of fighting it. They're still bold, but in a more refined, wearable way. They let your personality shine without overwhelming your natural beauty. So if red feels like your color, go for it. Just maybe not the brightest crayon in the box. Go a little deeper, a little warmer. Your hair can still say, I'm vibrant, but now will also say, I know what works for me. And that kind of confidence, that's ageless. Look into purple. It's bold. It's fun. And honestly, it sends a message. You're still full of life and not afraid to stand out. For many women over 60, purple feels like a badge of personality. And I get it. After years of playing it safe, purple says, I still have a spark. But here's the thing. Not all purples are created equal, especially when it comes to deep, dark shades like plum or eggplant. These rich, saturated colors look stunning in theory. They're dramatic and artsy, and they can make a statement. But on mature skin, they often do the opposite of what we want. Instead of making your face pop, they can make it look dull or even tired. That deep color contrasts sharply with soft, cooler skin tones and can bring out shadows under the eyes or along the jawline. It can also exaggerate uneven tone or texture, especially if your skin has become more translucent with age. I remember one woman, Claire, who tried a deep violet bob to celebrate her retirement. At first, it looked edgy and fresh. But as the weeks went on and the color started to fade, it lost its vibrancy. It became patchy and uneven, especially around the roots and ends. She had to do frequent touch-ups just to keep it looking clean. And every time she shampooed, it faded more. Eventually, she said, it feels like the color is wearing me instead of the other way around. That's something to consider. Purple, especially the dark kind, is a high-maintenance shade. It doesn't last long, and it often fades into a muddy, unflattering hue. Plus, if your hair is already a bit porous or dry, which is common with age, it clings unevenly and fades unpredictably. And if you ever decide to go back to a more natural color, good luck. Dark purple can be stubborn and hard to lift. So what's the better way to enjoy purple? Go lighter. Think lavender, lilac, or even soft violet highlights blended into silver or gray hair. These tones still offer that fun, creative vibe, but in a softer, more flattering way. They enhance your natural coloring instead of overpowering it. The key here isn't to ditch your boldness. It's to channel it in a way that supports your look, not competes with it. You can still stand out, just in a way that feels fresh, elegant, and totally you. Now let's talk about bold, edgy hair colors, like deep green, teal, neon blue, or even bright orange. These colors are playful, no doubt about it. They send a message that says, I've still got fire in me. And honestly, that's a beautiful thing. But when it comes to how they actually work with mature skin tones, the reality can be a little different. The problem with bold, unnatural colors is that they often create harsh contrast. As we age, our skin tends to lose some of its warmth and glow. It might look cooler or more translucent. So when you throw a vibrant green or bright blue on top of that, it doesn't always mesh well. It can make your complexion look uneven or even a bit sallow. Instead of highlighting your features, these shades can pull focus and not in the way you want. I remember talking to a woman named Karen who had always wanted to try electric blue hair. She said, "Why not now? I'm retired. I can finally have fun with it." And she did. But after a month, she came back saying, "I feel like people are looking at my hair instead of looking at me." And that's the thing. Your hair should complement your personality, not overpower it. Another issue? Maintenance. Bold colors fade fast, especially on hair that's already been lightened or is naturally gray. That vibrant teal you started with, it can turn into a murky, greenish yellow after a few washes. Plus, once those pigments settle in, they're hard to get out without more bleaching or stripping, which can be rough on hair that's already more delicate with age. Now, does that mean you have to say goodbye to fun hair? Not. But maybe it's time to shift the tone a little, literally. Try smoky versions of those bold colors. Think ash brown with a cool undertone, slate gray with a hint of blue, or soft lavender layered into silver strands. You still get the modern, creative energy, but in a way that flatters your skin and works with your natural hair texture. Being bold doesn't mean being loud. Sometimes the most striking thing you can do is choose a color that brings out your best features. Let your personality shine, but make sure your hair is helping you do that, not distracting from it. Now let's shift gears and talk about a shade that almost always works beautifully after 60, warm chestnut brown. If you're looking for a color that feels timeless, soft, and elegant, chestnut might be your perfect match. It's not too dark, not too light, and it is just the right mix of richness and warmth to bring your features to life. Chestnut brown is that sweet spot between looking natural and looking polished. It's got warm undertones, think golden brown, a touch of cinnamon, maybe even a hint of copper, that make your skin glow. And for women with mature skin, those warm tones are like magic. They brighten the face, soften shadows, and help you look more refreshed without doing anything drastic. I once worked with a woman named Judy who had been dyeing her hair a very dark brown for years. She said she felt invisible with lighter hair, so she always went back to that deep, dramatic tone. But as her skin got lighter and her natural grays came in, the dark color started to feel too heavy. We shifted her to a warm chestnut brown with some soft golden undertones. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She looked in the mirror and said, "I feel like myself again, just softer." And that's what this shade does. It brings out you, just a more radiant version. Another benefit? Chestnut brown is incredibly forgiving with grays. Unlike jet black or ash brown, it blends beautifully as your roots grow in. That means fewer trips to the salon, less stress about maintenance, and a more natural transition between color touch-ups. It also reflects light really well. Even if your hair has lost some of its thickness or texture, chestnut creates the illusion of movement and volume. It catches sunlight or soft indoor light in a way that makes your hair look healthy and alive. And this shade plays nicely with almost any hairstyle, whether you have a sleek bob, soft layers, or a pixie cut. Style-wise, chestnut brown is super versatile. It pairs beautifully with warm wardrobe colors like ivory, olive, burgundy, and navy. It adds sophistication without trying too hard. And if you've been feeling stuck with either very dark or washed out color, this could be a refreshing middle ground. So if you're looking for a change, but don't want to feel like you're reinventing yourself, give warm chestnut a try. It's not flashy. It's not trendy. It's just classic, flattering, and easy to love. Sometimes The most powerful transformation isn't about turning heads. It's about feeling like the best version of you. Think of it as the color equivalent of your favorite sweater, comfortable, elegant, and never out of style. And in this stage of life, that's exactly what we want, beauty that feels effortless and authentic. Let's talk about light caramel. If you're looking for a shade that feels warm, welcoming, and youthful, without screaming for attention, caramel might be your answer. It's one of those colors that lives in the sweet spot between blonde and light brown. It brings with it a soft, sun-kissed glow that can work wonders on mature skin. One of the things I love most about caramel is how it reflects light. It adds brightness to the face, which is especially helpful if you're feeling like your skin has lost some of its natural radiance over the years. As we age, our complexion can sometimes start to look a little flat or dull. Caramel, with its golden undertones, brings that warmth back in a really subtle, flattering way. I remember working with a woman named Sheila who had been wearing a dark ash-brown color for years. She said it used to look chic, but lately she felt like it was dragging her down. We tried a light caramel blend, adding some highlights around her face. The effect was immediate. Her skin looked fresher, her eyes seemed brighter, and the whole tone of her appearance softened in the best way. It wasn't a huge transformation, but it was the kind of change that made her feel like smiling again when she looked in the mirror. Caramel also has the benefit of being super low maintenance. Unlike platinum or jet black, it grows out beautifully. If your roots are light brown or gray, they blend in more naturally, so you don't feel like you're constantly chasing the next touch-up. And when it fades, it tends to fade into a soft honey hue rather than something harsh or brassy. This color also adds dimension. If your hair is thinning or lacks volume, caramel can give the illusion of depth. That's because it catches light in different ways depending on how your hair moves, which makes even the simplest styles look more dynamic. Whether you wear your hair long, short, straight, or curly, caramel can work with it. It's especially lovely on women with warm or neutral undertones, but even cooler toned skin can carry it if the tone is balanced just right. So if you've been hesitant to go blonde, but want something that feels lighter and brighter, caramel is a great in-between. It's soft, it's modern, and it feels like sunshine in your hair, without the upkeep of high-lift blondes. Sometimes all it takes is a little caramel to bring out a whole new glow. It's like adding a touch of gold to your look, just enough to catch attention, not so much that it overwhelms. And that kind of balance, that's where real beauty lies. Let's wrap up with a color technique that might be the most subtle and the most powerful of them all: honey brown highlights. Sometimes you don't need a full head of color to make a big difference. Just a few well-placed highlights can completely refresh your look. Honey tones are warm, soft, and incredibly flattering on mature skin. They add dimension without being overwhelming. And when layered into your natural hair, whether it's gray, silver, light brown, or faded black, they can create a gorgeous blend that looks effortless and polished. Think of honey brown highlights as the hair version of a soft glow. They catch the light in all the right places around your face, along the crown, and help brighten your features. If your skin has started to look a little dull, or you feel like your hair has lost some of its bounce, this color can bring it back. I had a client named Renee who hadn't dyed her hair in years. She was nervous about jumping back into color, especially since she had embraced a lot of her grays. We didn't do anything drastic. We just added a few honey-toned highlights around her face and through the top layers. The result? She looked refreshed, like she'd just come back from a relaxing vacation. And more importantly, she felt like herself again, only brighter. Honey highlights are also low maintenance, since they blend in so well with natural tones, especially grays and soft browns. You don't have to worry about obvious regrowth or harsh contrast. And if you ever decide to stop coloring your hair altogether, they fade and grow out gracefully without needing a major transition plan. This technique works on all kinds of hairstyles: short, long, curly, straight. It's especially effective if your hair is layered or textured, because the highlights create movement and depth. Even a simple bob or ponytail looks more dynamic when there's a little light bouncing off those honey tones. And here's the best part. It doesn't feel like you've changed your whole look. It feels like a soft upgrade, like you've added a little light, a little warmth, without stepping too far from your comfort zone. So if you're not ready for a full color change, or you just want to ease into something new, honey brown highlights are a beautiful place to start. They're natural, flattering, and quietly radiant. Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference. Just like the perfect finishing touch to an outfit, a touch of honey can complete your whole look without overpowering it. So here we are. You've heard about the shades that may be holding you back and the ones that can lift you. Now comes the real question: what do you want your hair to say about you? Whether you realize it or not, you're saying something every single day. Maybe you've been clinging to the same shade for years, and maybe it's worked until it didn't. But here's the beautiful thing: you get to choose again. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. You're not trying to look like your 25-year-old self. You're trying to look like the best version of who you are now: strong, radiant, experienced. Choosing a hair color that reflects that, that's power. So whether it's softening your black, warming up your blonde, or adding a few caramel strands for sparkle, it's all about honoring yourself today, not yesterday. You've earned a right to glow. Now go do it. So what do we learn today? Hair color is more than just a style choice. It's a reflection of where you are in life. Some shades, like jet black or platinum blonde, may have once felt right, but now they might be working against you. And that's okay. We grow, we evolve, and so should our look. Choosing a softer, warmer, or more natural color doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're paying attention to what suits you now. Your hair doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It just has to feel right for you. So embrace the change. Try something new, and let your hair color reflect the confident, beautiful woman you've become. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these shades? Are you thinking about making a change? Leave a comment below and share your story. You never know. Your words might inspire someone else to feel more confident, too. And if this video helped you see your hair in a new light, give it a like and subscribe for more beauty tips, real talk, and style ideas that celebrate every stage of life.